Want to feel like your best self? Maybe you've been wanting to take better care of yourself, feel great in your body again, present your best self to the world. If you're ready to get your body back, feel your vibrancy, our experts today are here to give you that advice to take that emotional and physical journey to get us to that state of self-love. So let's go say hi to them. Hi, Suzanne.
Hello.
Tell us your name and where you're at and where we can find you.
Okay, I'm Suzanne, the Beauty Shaman, and I'm from the website, The Beauty Shaman, of course, and I'm coming to you from Ecuador, from Cuenca, Ecuador. Long way away.
Oh, wonderful to have you here.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. And hi, Nicole.
Hello, I'm Nicole Ruiz, and I'm a women's coach, and I am coming to you from Gainesville, Florida, and you can find me at nicolesfitness.online.
Well, I'm so excited both of you are here today because taking this emotional journey from, and this physical journey to get to that state of self-love where we feel great, I know you've helped women do before. So, Suzanne, I thought I'd start with you. What advice do you have for our viewers today to do that?
Well, most women, because I'm a professional makeup artist, that's how I got started with all of this for about 30 years. And most women think, oh, if I just get my makeup right, I'll feel better. But that's actually not true. It starts with your inner world and really beginning to love who you are, what you are, everything about yourself. And then the how-tos are really simple.
So what can people do to start that process of feeling that love and for themselves?
One of the techniques that I recommend to people is to do mirror work. So it's when you look in the mirror and you touch your neck. So your neck is the center of change in the body. So put your hands on your neck, look into the mirror and say, I love you, and say it every single day I always recommend about 20 times. When I first started to do this, I couldn't get through one sentence. And I thought, oh my goodness, like that's incredible. And I thought, if I can't get through one sentence, what about my kids? Like, I don't want to teach my daughters, I have 2 daughters, to not love themselves so that they can't say that they love themselves. So it was really motivating. And I really became, every day I did it until I could get through 10, and then pretty soon I could get through 15. And now I can do it. And there's not a huge amount of emotion attached to that. It's just something that I have, which is great. It's wonderful that you can create this within yourself so wonderfully. And it isn't about external stimulus. It's about you and your own inner world really transforming. And then doing makeup and, my specialty, makeup, skincare, hair, like presenting yourself well is much, much easier and much more authentic as well.
I love what you're saying. Here's why, because I feel like in today's society, so many of the young women are so focused on that outer beauty. Right. They have all these extravagant makeup techniques, and they're basically like these beautiful glamour girls on steroids on Instagram, on all the social media. But I wonder about that inner state, how much of it is really coming from within versus just plastered on. It looks rather like a facade. Can you relate to that?
Well, yes. And I think you have to step out of kind of the mainstream, what the sells, right? Like Kim Kardashian, great case in point, right? She's selling this really kind of unusual body, very weird, like nobody looks like that, or face, nobody looks like that. So what she's selling, nobody can achieve. So it's an unachievable standard. And I think, as we get older, we have to step out of that, and we have to step into what's right for me and who am I and what's real for me, rather than this unusual, this terrible, I think it's terrible standard that the world has. And I look at beauty as kind of rebellion, like, well, it's about you. And I think if you can own that, and my goal with anybody I work with is to get them to the point where they own it. They own who they are. They own what they are. I've seen women who, I think if you look at them from kind of the ideal standard, they're not beautiful, but when they speak and when they own it and they love their body and they love who they are, oh my gosh, they just light up the whole room. And that's really what we're going for. And I think you have to really discount all that stuff and stop making apologies for yourself. Like, I'm sorry that I'm overweight. I'm sorry that nothing's perfect here. Well, forget it. Like, it's not what it's about, right? It's about loving who you are. And I used to be a professional model many millions of years ago. And I worked in Europe and New York, and I never felt good enough, ever. I always felt unattractive. And yet I was getting paid to stand in front of a camera. And I think that just says everything about our society and how completely toxic and unhealthy it is. So I want to really move people out of that into something that's much more real.
And authentic. And speaking
and
of
authentic.
real and authentic, I wanted to jump over to you, Nicole, and ask you for your advice. You know, there's this emotional and physical journey to self-love that Suzanne is talking about, that I know you also support women in. And what advice can you give them?
Yes, a lot of times when women feel like they don't have that self-love, especially after they've dealt with postpartum depression, which is who I work with, they feel like they need to repel and subtract and get rid of the things that don't make them happy, when instead they need to focus on adding instead. So adding more water, it sounds silly, but it will make you feel better inside. And then adding more vegetables or adding enjoyable movement, adding people to your life who make you feel good and feel better as well, and continuing to enjoy the food that you love with your family instead of subtracting and taking away the things that you do love and that make you feel good. If we subtract, we feel restricted and incapable, which kills our confidence. And instead, if we add, then that does leave us feeling much more satisfied and confident in ourselves and our abilities.
I love that focus on adding the things that are good for you and that you love. And I wanted you to say a little bit more about the subtracting, what when we feel restricted, and why does that kill our confidence? What does it do when we focus on is it focusing on what we don't want, or what do you mean by subtracting?
When we subtract, so a lot of women, especially if they're postpartum, they've dealt with postpartum depression and they want to feel better in their bodies, what I found is they will subtract and they will take away the things that they love. So they restrict their food, they take away the food that they love, stuff that brings their family and their culture together. Maybe in my family, my husband and I, we both enjoy beans and rice. And so if we took that away, that's part of our culture. It's part of who we love and what we are, and it brings our entire family happiness. But if we take that away, then we feel restricted and it just makes us unhappy, and it kills everything else that we're trying to do to feel better.
And you're not talking about overdoing those things like binging on things, or, excessively overeating for the food type things. Tell us more about what it means to add in a healthy way.
Right. Adding in a healthy way. So if you enjoy a slice of cake, eat your slice of cake, but let's add vegetables to your dinner or to your breakfast, maybe once or twice a week to begin with, because you don't want to add too much, which can then make you feel overwhelmed because you're trying to do all these things at once. And so adding in these little small things. So if you want to begin drinking more water, instead of adding in a gallon a day, maybe just add in 1 glass a day. And that can help you really build up your confidence into getting and knowing that you can do that and you're capable of it.
So add in these things that are good for you in baby steps, in ways that you're willing to do. I even think of that probably would apply to the movement you're talking about. Is there any tip of movement you would give someone who hasn't really been moving, doesn't like to move? What could they do to get in their body more?
Right. Yes. I hear that all the time. Nicole, I hate working out because I don't want to go to the gym. And that's understandable because I work out, but I don't enjoy it all the time either. So one of the best tips that I have is, what do you enjoy? A lot of the moms that I work with, they have kids and they will go and like pick their favorite song and start dancing with their child and carrying their child. And if you've ever held a 25-pound baby, well, they look tiny. Carrying around 25 pounds and trying to dance to a song is quite exertive. And so even that counts. And so it doesn't have to be a full hour and a half long gym workout. It could be dancing with your child to your favorite song.
I love these little tips both of you have shared to get into our bodies, to recognize ourselves as lovable, and how to build that lovability. So thank you for that. I'd like to get to know you each a little bit better. Who do you work with? What do you do for them? Suzanne, why don't you share?
Sure. So mainly what I do is I do presentations and I create content for YouTube and social media. So my main audience is older women. So that sort of classifies about 45 to about I don't know, 70, 75. I've had 80-year-old women email me and ask advice. So kind of spans a pretty large area there. But I think older women automatically feel bad about themselves because they're getting older. We have wrinkles and that sort of thing. I'm 57. So I basically do video content and I do one-on-ones, but mostly it has to do with people being able to really watch content and learn from that. And I also do makeup and skincare and that sort of thing. So that's in a nutshell what I do. I love doing presentations. I do a ton of presentations and interviews and that sort of thing around this particular topic. And during presentations, people can ask advice, which I love giving advice. I'm an esthetician as well. So I really know skincare and what skincare works and how to define that exactly, because marketing is, out of control, right? Well, this is going to change your skin in 2 weeks. It'll be, and then if you look at the ingredients, because I know ingredients, I'll say, yeah, that's complete rubbish. Like it's not going to do anything for you. Don't spend the $300 or whatever it is. So I really love teaching women how to shop, what they need, because really, I think most of the time we use too many things and we need to really narrow that down. And then do a lot of things with diet and exercise, similar to what Nicole was talking about, really make a huge, huge difference on your skin. Skin is the largest organ in your body. So, let's take care of our skin. And that comes through health. It comes through supplements and exercise and your mentality, how you think, like all of that is together. So I think if women can focus on those really positive aspects and adding, like what Nicole said too, I totally agree with that, is adding things that are super positive and constructive to your life is what makes a huge difference.
So tell me a story about how this all started or someone you helped.
Well, I was, like I said, I was a professional makeup artist for 30 years. Then I worked in politics for a large chunk of that. So I worked for CNN and Fox News Channel, and I made up lots and lots of very famous, in quotation marks, I say famous, because once you work with these people for a while, you're like, yeah, no. But they're, they're popular, right? So I started making up very well-known people. So I've made up like Al Gore and Hillary Clinton. And one of the people I made up was Barbara Bush. And just to make this a nutshell story is I was very nervous to make her up. And my mentor told me exactly what to do to make her up, which was, A, B, C, D. Don't spend a lot of time on her. Use this product, because he had made her up a few times. So I went in and I just decided I'm just going to take on exactly what he said. And he said, order her around, say, look up, sit down, like, don't make apologies. Don't, be all lovey-dovey, just tell her what you want, be super, which I've used ever since in my career. So that sort of strategy with so-called famous people. And so after I did her makeup, I put her in front of the camera. She was being interviewed by Wolf Blitzer. And I was, probably in my 30s at this point and really didn't know what I wanted to do with my future. I loved what I was doing, but what direction I want to go. And as we had to all leave the room, and as I'm leaving the room, she's telling Wolf Blitzer, that's the best makeup artist I've ever worked with. And I was stunned because I thought I'm not the best makeup artist she's ever worked with. I know that for a fact, but what made the difference? And I thought it's because of confidence. And so it really was kind of the curtail towards, I really want to help women be confident, and it had nothing to do with injections or with, if you want to get injections, fine, but that's not what does it, right? It's an inner world. And I felt like she was very confident and that was her inner world. And so that's why she did the things she did, good or bad, love her, don't love her. But anyway, it really got me going.
Yeah, that's amazing. She inspired you, but you were inspired by others, and it was kind of this ripple effect. So congratulations. Thank you for the story and for what you do. And so Nicole, do share with us, tell us who you work with, what you do, what you're excited about.
Yes, I am a fitness and nutrition coach who work with women who have dealt with postpartum depression. And I help women feel confident in their body again after postpartum depression. I'm so very passionate about helping women not feel alone in that process and wanting to feel like themselves again after dealing with their postpartum depression.
And so how long after this time period would you like to work with somebody? Like, is somebody experienced it years and years ago, or is this within a couple of years?
It can really vary based on where they feel at and when they feel like they're ready to work on that. So there are some moms I've worked with who it's been years. I've worked with women who have older kids, their child may be 18, 25, 26 years old, but they've dealt with this for so long and they just didn't know that there was kind of a different way of feeling better after postpartum depression. And I've also worked with moms who are in the thick of it right now. There's not too much that we can do on the physical side, but we can certainly work on the other aspects of it. Because if they're 4 weeks postpartum and they know they've dealt with postpartum depression, there's still some of the physical side effects that their doctor may not have given permission for yet. But there's other aspects that we can focus on, such as the nutrition and the mindset piece of it, and working with them through all that. So I've worked with hundreds of women in between all those different ranges where they might have a newborn or they might have an adult child.
Wow, that's great. So do you have a story of how you came to this?
Yes. So I was a new mom also, and I suffered with severe postpartum depression, and I felt like a stranger living in my own body. But I learned quickly that unless you create a plan that flows with life after a baby, then you truly won't have that trust and confidence in yourself and in your body. And so I then created a program of things that I've done and dealt with and different mindset techniques that I went through in order to help moms feel like they've gained that energy back and that they feel like themselves again and their own body after postpartum depression. So that way they feel like they have control again, because postpartum depression really makes you feel like you're out of control. You don't have control of your emotions or the thoughts that are going on or different aspects. And it really robs women of the lifestyle and that they crave and deserve.
What an important work both of you are doing for the confidence of women, for the health of women, and for the power that we women have to transform our lives and then to do the transformation with others, like both of you are doing. So I'm super honored to be here. This is the kind of people we have here at Women Speakers Association, women who are up to something in improving people's lives and the world. So tell us a little bit about why you joined or what value you're receiving from Women Speakers Association, Suzanne.
I joined Women Speakers Association because of my business coach, who's Michaela Quilici. I think that's how you say your last name. That's terrible. I don't totally know how to pronounce her last name. Anyway, she's been my business coach for about 3 years, and I absolutely love her, and she recommended it. And one of the things I really enjoy about Women Speaker Association is getting to connect with other entrepreneurs who are really promoting themselves out in the media, because it can be a very lonely time, right? Because I'm completely online, many of us are. And I think making those kinds of connections and hearing what other women are doing is very motivating and inspiring and keeps me going. So I really enjoy the meetings and the sessions where I can really interact with other women who are doing the same type of thing that I'm doing.
That's great. Yes. We are almost like a 99% virtual organization and have been since the inception in 2011. And so what the beauty of that is, it gives you the opportunity to meet women around the world and connect with them and collaborate with them. So Nicole, tell us about how come you joined and what is the value of Women Speakers Association to you at this point?
Yes, the value is definitely a lot of what Suzanne said, being able to connect with other women who are going through the same. And the reason why I joined Women's Speakers Association is because when I worked at a gym as a personal trainer, I was very extroverted, and my husband had no idea that I'm a true introvert because that's where we met, was at the gym. And then once I took my business online, the introvertedness came out again. And so I joined in order to work on coming out of that shell.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you. And if any of you watching want to do what Suzanne and Nicole have done here and become a premier member, get more visibility, have your brand and message go wider, then go to joinwsa.com and check us out. Or if you want to put your toe in the water, we do have a free speaker success plan you can download at speakersuccessplan.com. We'd love to bring you into the fold. You'll get our weekly newsletter as well when you put your toe in the water. And if you're a phone member, you can come to our networking meetings for free. If you're not a paid member, you can pay for those meetings. And that's where you'll meet wonderful people like Nicole, and Suzanne, and a tribe of women who have your back, who are there to collaborate and connect. And it's really unique, as you just heard. So I really appreciate both of you, Nicole, Suzanne, for the wisdom you've shared today, for the heart you give to women around the world, and for your energy here in this organization. We'll be back next time with another episode of WSA TV, the Women's Premier Show. And have a great day. Bye for now.